Still on.
Probably too long. All right, it's 5:29. It's 5:29. It's 5:30. Are we ready? Ready, Chuck? The chair will call the March 18th, 2025 meeting of the City Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Thank you.
Clerk Redpath, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Alderman Cox.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford. Here. Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderman Inetriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin. Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Busher. We have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to let Alderman Donlin join via phone?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Alderman, you're officially a part of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. The civility pledge. In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. Proclamations and presentations. I would like to go to the podium. I'll be right there. And I'm going to ask that Ed Curtis from Memorial Medical Center please join me at the podium. Welcome. This is a city proclamation. Whereas Edgar J. Curtis, a lifelong resident of Springfield, Illinois, has dedicated his career to advancing healthcare, creating a community partnership, and mentoring future leaders. And whereas Edgar Curtis began his journey at Springfield Memorial Hospital in 1975 as a registered nurse, later holding numerous leadership roles and ultimately serving as president and CEO of Memorial Health since 2008. And whereas throughout his 50-year career, Edgar Curtis has been a steadfast advocate for the growth of Memorial Health and Springfield Memorial Hospital, ensuring that residents of Springfield and the surrounding communities have access to high-quality health care. And whereas under his leadership, Memorial Health has expanded its services into neighboring communities, positioning itself as a regional healthcare leader and strengthening relationships with the SIU School of Medicine and Springfield Clinic to enhance medical care for Central Illinois residents. And whereas Edgar Curtis has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to community service, serving as chair of the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance, supporting the development of the Mid-Illinois Medical District, and serving on the boards of local organizations including the United Way of Central Illinois, Central Illinois Food Bank, and the Springfield Urban League. And whereas he has also contributed to shaping healthcare policy as a past president of the Illinois Hospital Association Board and as an appointee to the Southern Illinois University Board by Governor J.B. Pritzker. And whereas Edgar Curtis has championed partnerships with local colleges and universities to expand educational opportunities for students pursuing healthcare careers, ensuring a strong and sustainable healthcare workforce for Central Illinois. And whereas he prepares to retire in 2025, after 5 decades of service, Edgar Curtis leaves behind a lasting legacy of leadership, compassion, and dedication to the well-being of Springfield and its residents. Now, therefore, I, Misty Busher, Mayor of the City of Springfield, together with the Springfield City Council here behind me, do hereby recognize that today, March 18th, 2025, shall be Edgar J. Curtis Day in the City of Springfield. Like to come take a picture as well. I'm gonna have the alders stand so they can take a picture. Yeah, absolutely. Treasurer? Haley, can you take a picture of all this, please, and thank you. Everybody in?
You're my friend. You can have a visitor.
Nobody wants to hear it.
Nobody wanted your cop to hit somebody while they were drunk, but here we sit.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, Alderman.
It's unbelievable.
There we go. Everybody, you ready? Joanna, are we okay? Okay. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2024-042 for the property located at 2242 South 6th Street. Petitioner is 2222 South LLC. Present zoning classification is S2 Community Shopping and Office District, Section 155.031. The requested zoning relief is variance of Sections 155.300C9, prohibited signs, signs with movement, 155.302B4, 5, and 7, general conditions for temporary signs, 155.302C1, banners, 155.302C3 and D. Special provisions for temporary signs, 155.320A, B, D, and E. Permitted accessory on-premise signs, 155.322C, illuminated signs, and 155.324 projecting signs. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation is denial. Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is denial, concur with the recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. Chair will now entertain a motion.
I move that we continue this until the April 15th meeting.
So we have a motion to continue until April 15th. Can I get a second?
Second.
Um,
A motion with a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I actually would like to hear, so last I heard, we were going to pass this, or part of it, so I'd like to hear the objections. I believe, Mr. Harris, did you?
I don't think anyone signed up to speak on that, Alderwoman.
No, the sponsor told me that we needed to continue it because there were objections from you and Mr. Harris.
No, I think that the petitioner, not the sponsor, it'd be the petitioner. He actually, I guess,
That's
sent a
cute.
document to you that was to be shared, and Mr. Harris and I have never seen it. So I told him I could not vote on it tonight.
So he didn't send a document to me. He sent a document that was part of the packet, and all we're doing is taking out everything else and passing the
To
signage.
my knowledge, Mr. Harris called you multiple times to find out what was going on with it, never received a
I
phone call
work,
back.
okay?
Okay.
So if people can't call me during, I don't know, after work or on one of the Mondays where I'm off, I can't help you, okay? This is not even a big deal. We have the votes to pass it. If IDOT thinks the signs are in the right of way, then they can say no. It's fine. I don't understand why you have to see something personally.
Motion was to postpone. Do you still stay with your motion?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All those in favor of the motion, please say yes or aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-003 for the property located at 600 Toronto Road. The petitioner is Route 66 Motorhead Bar and Grill, LLC. Present zoning classification is B1 Highway Business Service District, Section 155.033. The requested zoning relief is a conditional permitted use pursuant to Section 155.033C8, conditional permitted use in the B1 Highway Business Service District. Liquor sales package exclusive of drive-in or drive-up windows for the sale of alcohol, and Section 155.210, package liquor sales to allow package liquor sales in the existing restaurant tavern with private label package liquor. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation is approval of the requested conditional permitted use as submitted, provided that package liquor sales are limited to the existing building footprint of the restaurant tavern. Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is concur with the recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the recommendation of the Zoning and Planning Commission.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the recommendation of the Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderman Donlin, how do you vote?
So we have 10 yeses and 0 noes. The motion carries. Is anyone here for the petitioner? I don't see anybody. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-005 for the properties located at 427 South 12th Street, Parcel 1, 1123 East Jackson Street, Parcel 2, 1131 East Jackson Street, Parcel 3, 1118 East Jackson Street, Parcel 4, 1120 East Jackson Street, Parcel 5, 1124 East Jackson Street, Parcel 6, and 1128 East Jackson Street, Parcel 7. The petitioners are Root History Incorporated. Present zoning classification is R3B, General Residence District, Section 155.018. Parcel 1 is also designated as a local landmark. Requested zoning relief is reclassification of parcels 2 through 7 from R3B, General Residence District, Section 155.018 to S2, Community Shopping and Office District, Section 155.031. The conditional permitted use pursuant to Sections 155.183, 155.031C2, and 155.018C2 to allow an accessory off-street parking lot not on the same lot as the use served on parcels 4, 5, 6, and 7 to serve the museum and Lincoln Colored Home located on parcels 1, 2, and 3, which said parking is located on a different zoning lot than the use served. Variance of sections 155.018B permitted uses in the R3B district to permit the use of parcels 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the subject real estate as a commercial museum with ancillary uses including a gift shop, cafe, and offices in support of the museum. 155.114A, regulations for the location of off-street parking facilities to permit petitioner to utilize parcels 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the subject real estate as accessory off-street parking to serve the museum and Lincoln Colored Home located on parcels 1, 2, and 3, which said parking is located on a different zoning lot than the use served. 155.480J1, landscape screening and lighting regulations to reduce the height of any required 6-foot visual barrier for the parking lot on parcels 4, 5, 6, and 7 to a 4-foot visual barrier, and 155.480K to eliminate the lighting requirements for the parking lot on parcels 4, 5, 6, and 7. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is denial of the requested reclassification to S2, Community Shopping and Office District, but approval of a use variance of Section 155.018B to allow the use of parcels 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 as a commercial museum with ancillary uses, including a gift shop, cafe, and offices in support of the museum in the R3B General Residence District. approval of the conditional permitted use for an accessory off-street parking lot in the R3B General Residence District as submitted on parcels 4, 5, 6, and 7, and approval of the other requested variances as submitted. Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is accept the recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I accept the recommendation of the Sangamon County Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
I hope I said it all right.
Yes, sir, you did.
All right.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the staff recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. Any discussion from any alders? I know the petitioners are here. Do you care to say anything or no? Okay. Then all of the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. I'll let you.
Alderman Donlin, how do you vote?
So the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Congratulations.
Did not vote.
Clerk, that came up as pre-voted.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Says it's, she said it came up, Alderwoman Conley said it came up as pre-voted. It didn't come up for a vote. Thank you, Alderwoman.
Doesn't change my vote, but
Want to do a roll call vote while
Yeah, let's
Joanna's
do a roll
working
call.
on that?
Yep. Hold on.
Aye.
Alderman Cox.
Excuse me, aye.
Aye.
Alderman Gregory.
Aye.
Alderman Williams.
Aye.
Alderman Rockford. Alderwoman Purchase.
Aye.
Alderwoman Netriano.
Aye.
Alderman Carlson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Conley.
aye.
Alderman Donlin. Alderman Hanauer. Mayor Busher.
Okay, the motion passes with 10 voting no, or 10 voting yes, none voting no. Thank you, Alderwoman Conley. Congratulations.
Congrats.
And then, is it okay for me, Joanna, to move on to the next item? Okay. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-005 HIST for the properties located at 427 South 12th Street, Parcel 1, 1123 East Jackson Street, Parcel 2, and 1131 East Jackson Street, Parcel 3, 1118 East Jackson Street, Parcel 4, and 1120 East Jackson Street, Parcel 5, 1124 East Jackson Street, Parcel 6, and 1128 East Jackson Street, Parcel 7. The petitioners are Root History Incorporated. The present zoning classification is R3B General Residence District Section 155.018. Parcel 1 is also designated as a local landmark. Requested zoning relief is conditional permitted use pursuant to Sections 155.208, conditional permitted uses in the H1, H2, and H3 historic zoning districts and landmarks or historic districts, 155.279, conditional permitted uses in landmarks and historic districts, and 155.280, historic enterprise conditional permitted uses with respect to Parcel 1 to allow joint use of the subject real estate as a historic enterprise for the purposes of the Lincoln Colored Home and Root History Museum in the parking lot on parcels 4, 5, 6, and 7. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval provided the exterior renovations to the local landmark as described in the petition are reviewed by the Historic Sites Commission per code. Historic Sites Commission recommendation is approve the recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission with respect to Parcel 1. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Chair, I motion to approve the recommendation of the Sangamon County Planning Zoning.
Can I get a second? Second. So we have a motion and a second to accept the Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation. Any discussion from the alders? Will we be able to vote? Okay, so I think voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. I'll let
Alderman
you-
Donlin, how do you vote?
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Congrats again. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-006 for the property located at 3267 Ginger Creek Drive. The petitioner is Tada Catering, LLC. The present zoning classification is S2 Community Shopping and Office District, Section 155.031. Requested zoning relief is conditional permitted use pursuant to Sections 155.031C7, restaurants and banquet halls with the service of alcoholic beverages, except for drive-in or drive-up windows, for the sale of alcohol located on zoning lots adjoining the R1, R2, or R3 zoning districts or equivalent planned unit development designation, or otherwise adjoining these districts but for an alley, 155.211 restaurants with the service of alcoholic beverages, 155.031C6, conditional permitted uses in the S2 district, liquor sales package exclusive of drive-in or drive-up windows for the sale of alcohol, and 155.210 packaged liquor sales to allow a wine and cheese bar, charcuterie, including packaged liquor and restaurant selling by the drink for on-premise consumption. Variance of section 155.210B, packaged liquor sales, to permit packaged liquor sales on a lot within 100 feet of a residential zoning lot, church, park, school, community facility, or commercial daycare center. The Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval of the conditional permitted use for packaged liquor sales and a restaurant in tenant space 3267 Ginger Creek Drive, provided that the purposes have a floor area not to exceed 930 square feet of restaurant and tasting area, 620 square feet of retail space, and 400 square feet of outdoor seating as shown and described in the petition and its exhibits. And 2, the drive-up window is used solely for restaurant use and not for liquor sales, and approval of the variance as submitted. Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is approval, concur with the recommendation of the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion, we accept the Springfield Planning, Sangamon County Regional Planning and Zoning recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the staff recommendation of the Springfield-Sangamon Regional Planning staff. Does anyone have any discussion from the horseshoe? Any alders? Seeing none, voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderman Donlin, how do you vote?
So the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-007 for the property located at 2401 West Wabash Avenue, Suite A. Petitioners are Hotville Springfield, Inc., doing business as Dave's Hot Chicken. Present zoning classification is S2, Community Shopping and Office District, Section 155.031. The requested zoning relief is variance of sections 155.321B, non-illuminated signs, and 155.322B, illuminated signs, to allow illuminated on-premises building and wall-mounted signs that are approximately 87.23 square feet total instead of 56.8 square feet per code, and 155.322C, illuminated signs to allow illuminated wall building signs and a neon ribbon on the ridge of the building within 100 feet of a residential zoning lot. Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval in part and denial in part, and that the illuminated signage and the amount requested and shown in the petition and its exhibits be allowed along the north and south facades only, and that any signage along the east facade be restricted solely to non-illuminated signage. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is accept the recommendation of the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission, but allow the illuminated sign along the east facade as shown in the petition and its exhibits, provided that said east facade sign is turned off no later than 8 p.m. daily. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to accept the recommendation of the city planning and zoning for another fine business in Ward 7.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to accept the recommendation of the City of Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission. Any discussion from the alders? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderman Donlin, how do you vote?
So the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. This now concludes the zoning portion of the meeting. The chair will now recognize Treasurer Redpath Fager for presentation of the financial report.
Thank you, Chair. The Treasurer's report for the corporate fund for the month of February. Beginning balance, $54,992,291. We took in total receipts of $17,051,247. We had total disbursement in the month of February totaling $13,275,513, which left the corporate fund ending balance in the month of February at $58,768,026. The ending general fund balance included $10,457,314, which is the February ending ARPA money balance. That concludes my report. Thank you.
The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the financial report. We have a motion and a second to approve the financial report. Any discussion? Alderwoman Conley.
Hey, just real quickly, I just want to make sure, we do have, the ARPA funds have been allocated. We're just waiting to spend them out. Is that correct?
Correct, but I'll let Director Metzger, if she turns on her microphone, answer. I have to remind her.
Everything has been allocated.
I just know the deadline for getting those.
Right,
submitted
December
is coming up.
31st.
Yep, okay,
Yep,
thank
I
you. I
was-
just want to be sure.
I was checking on that earlier today and looking into that, so.
Good, thank you.
Any other discussion from the alders? Seeing none, all those in favor of the financial report, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair recognizes OBM Director Metzger for any questions on the OBM contract report. Do any alders have any questions on the contract report that was sent out? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. The chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the February 25th, 2025 special city council meeting and approve the minutes. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the March 4th, 2025 regular city council meeting and approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances into the record of this council meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda into this council meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will now entertain a motion to place the consent agenda on final passage.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I will need to recuse myself from ordinances 2025-110. Oh, am I saying it right? Okay, recuse myself from voting on 2025-110 and 2025-114.
Okay, so we let it be noted, Clerk
I got it.
Redpath? Okay.
got it.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Alderman Williams.
I'm not
Yes, sir.
sure, but the sale of the firehouse, was it on consent?
Yes.
It was. So I just had a question on, we did advertise and accept bids for that, didn't we?
Yeah, we'll let Director Metzger. Oh, I'm sorry, Purchasing Agent Lesko's here. He can answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, we declared it surplus in November. We sent out an RFP the first part of December. It was advertised in the paper as well as on site. They closed, I think, I want to say, it was open for like 6 weeks, and then we took, yes.
Okay, and
We took,
advertisement
we
was-
took proposals on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Advertisement was SJR?
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
Correct.
Any other questions, Alderman Williams?
No, Mayor, I'm sorry.
That's okay, you're good. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, voting will now be open. All those in favor of the voting, of the motions will vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderman Donlin, how do you vote? Aye. 10 over.
So the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. There are no agenda items currently remained tabled or in committee. Is there any unfinished business to come before the council? Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I have a couple of things that I'd like to follow up on from last week. Director Metzger, were you able to pull together any numbers regarding the federal funds that the city is currently owed?
I do not, I do not have any federal funds that I know of that are being held at this time.
Okay, great. And then my next question would be to revisit the zoning case. I just wanted to ask, I guess Corporation Counsel, you're probably the best person to ask. Is it necessary for me to get approval from the mayor before I propose a motion on a zoning case in Ward 6?
No, you could make a motion. It's on the agenda. The motion could have been anything you wanted
Okay,
today.
thank you, thank you. I
Any other
appreciate that.
discussion?
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Alderwoman?
And I would also like to thank Corporation Counsel Mordock for taking care of having the consent decree posted to our own online code. I understand that it will be posted as the final section.
Yeah, they confirmed it today, so it'll be posted as an appendix to our Code of Ordinances. They have it, so it's just a matter of them putting
Okay,
it up.
great, thank you. I appreciate that very much, and I think a lot of citizens will appreciate that as well. And lastly, I would just like to remind everyone, including the mayor, that we have taken a civility pledge. And so before you sit over here and whisper while we're having a committee of the whole, and before you tell everyone in the city of Springfield that I was not able to be reached, you should think about what that does for civility. So, thank you.
Ditto, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just want to quickly point out, we all have a flyer at our seats. I know this has been circulated in other areas. With a day of action to protect our postal service, we as a council, we all remember had a special council meeting last year to speak out about our concerns with the city of Springfield and potential closure impacts to our postal service. So I just want to, we have it up here. I know I've seen it around, but there's a day of action on March 20th, which is Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. at the post office. And I would encourage people to stand up and speak out in support of maintaining a local post office in the city of Springfield.
Thank you for bringing
Mayor.
that up, Alderwoman. Any other, yep, Alderman Rockford.
Yeah, Mayor, I wanted to, there's a gentleman here that didn't sign up to speak, but he is with the Postal Service, so I don't know if he will be able to speak tonight. I don't know.
I think the Alderwoman just did for him. She kind of shared
Okay.
that there is a
Okay,
day of
that's
action.
fine.
You were there.
Did you share the date and time, Alderwoman?
I did, yes. It's Thursday from, I have to put reading glasses back on, 4 to 6 at the post office at 2105 East Cook Street.
Yeah, so any citizens who want to support can definitely go out and they will welcome you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Alderman Rockford. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we're going to move on to new business. Is there any new business to bring before the council? Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have some questions for Chief Scarlett regarding the email and the footage that was released last week about the September crash between a drunk driver and a motorcycle. So I read the report, the summary of the investigation, and I don't know, maybe I didn't see everything, but I didn't quite get a feel for what the officers were punished for. Can you say more about that?
Yeah, so we had 4 officers that were disciplined as well as a supervisor. The supervisor was disciplined for lack of supervision, poor scene mismanagement, same for the officers as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And also, in the, one of the links that you shared was about DUI and blood alcohol level. And one of the things that really struck me in reading that is that drinking water or chewing gum or taking a shower can't lower your blood alcohol level content. The only thing that can do that is time. And I was really concerned that in all that footage, I didn't see a sobriety test or a request for a sobriety test within that 30 to 70 minute time frame mentioned on the form. So
That's because the more effective way to hold someone accountable is to draw their blood, which involves getting a search warrant from a judge and a state's attorney to sign that. That's more, that holds up more strongly in court, and then they can be held accountable. That's what, when we turned the case over to the state police, that's exactly what they did. And when they drew his blood, he was more than double, I believe, the legal limit, and he'll be held accountable for that in court.
okay. All right, thank you.
bet.
That is really helpful.
Good.
Because it gave the appearance that the folks on the scene, whether that be SPD or the state police, were somehow taking a really long time to process that scene. And I was just hoping that it wasn't to benefit Mr. Egan.
I hope that, I appreciate those comments, and I hope that as you watch that video, you also understand the unfolding situation that those young officers are thrown in to try and sort out individuals that are severely injured on the roadway. We've got traffic coming on a very busy road. We've got obviously a driver that's intoxicated that we have to deal with, and we've got public. So there's a lot of things going on there. There was no intention by any of my officers to delay any sort of blood draw or anything like that.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And I would like to acknowledge that the young officers who were responding, that I watched, hours of their body cam footage, I definitely felt for them. I've been in a situation in a job where I was looking to leaders to lead and show me how to behave. And those men, those officers were clearly doing that, and they didn't receive that. So I hope that that's something that we're going to address more than just, like another training.
Absolutely. And that was the discipline that was imposed on the sergeant involved. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Alderman Gregory.
No, I agree with the Alderwoman on the fact that the sergeant really, managing that scene and helping those young officers do things right. I think, in various sectors, we have to depend on our leaders and those who are in those leaderships to make sure that everything is flowing how it does. So I do agree with that sentiment. I think there's going to have to be some more conversations going forth. I know we work with a lot of good groups, and I just want to make sure that we have those conversations, not about this particular situation going forward, but just about, how do we move forward with trust in the community and building that back up, that hey, our sergeants and lieutenants and everything is trying to deliver to our young guys the best training that we can.
I agree with you 100%. If there's one thing that I said back in September is that my job is to work on instilling and building trust with the community and the community partners, and you, I would assume, of all people, know that we are extremely engaged with our community, and my door is always open for other groups, as you mentioned, that I need to have ongoing dialogue and conversation. That's exactly what I'll do. Point number two, anytime someone gets promoted within our agency, the first conversation that I have is this is not just a pay raise, this comes with a responsibility, and that responsibility is leadership and holding these young officers, instilling that they're doing the right thing at the right time. And that's my expectations. And I hope I'm making that very clear that what happened out there by the supervisor will not be tolerated and that we held him accountable.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Any other new business to come before the council? Thank you, Chief. Seeing none, are you ready, Clerk Redpath? Yes. Okay, we're going to go to citizens' advance request to address the council. First person signed up to speak is Brianna Eilers.
All right, I wasn't planning on going first, so whoa, hi, how you doing? All right, so I wanted to come up here and talk about the consent decree between the United States EPA and the city of Springfield. I had to search and search and search and search and search for it. I understand that it is public knowledge. You can get it on a website, blah, blah, blah. I am somebody who researches because I like to, and I cannot navigate this site. The site is not easy to navigate, and in full transparency, I would expect the city of Springfield, who owns and operates CWLP, to post that information, especially considering I saw we've known about this being a problem since 2015. 2015! And I'm just now in 2025, a whole decade. That's 10 fingers. That's my entire 2 hands, if we're going back to kindergarten. A decade, you guys. And I'm just now finding out about it from a U.S. government website, not even the people who are supposed to tell me. That's messed up. That needs to be corrected. All right, moving on. I just want to put it out there. Here's my poor people complaint. My poor people complaint this week is not about myself. My poor people complaint this week is about other people, because I'm done complaining about myself. You know I'm in a horrible situation. You know I'm trying to get myself out of it. So now it's time to tell you other people's situation who won't come up here and talk to you. Want to know why? They won't identify themselves. I'm working with humans who come in and I say, what is your race or your ethnicity? They turn down the program. They walk away. They'd refuse service. They say, I don't need help anymore. If they're not willing to come up here, if they're not willing to tell me what color their skin is, how are they going to come up here and talk to you guys about it? How are they going to tell anybody that they need help? They literally won't even tell me what color they are. And yet, in the same breath, white people are coming in and they're very proudly saying, I'm Russian, I'm Polish. But yet, whenever you hear an African American walking through the door, they will not say they're African American, they are black. Want to know why? Because they've never been to Africa and they don't want to be deported to Africa. That's our community. That's here in Springfield. That's a large group of people. It is not far and few between. It is a large group of people, and it is sad. Okay. Moving on. We just had a huge storm. Where are storm shelters? Do you guys know? That's a lot of quiet because there are none. So I come up here weekly now and say, we need a 15-minute city, we need a 15-minute city, we need an unhoused population for the unhoused, we need a 15-minute city. Do you know cities like Houston, Texas? You realize how big Houston, Texas is? You realize how many people are in Houston, Texas? They don't have a homeless population. You know why? Because they have 15-minute cities for their homeless population. It's an easy solution. It's been done before. It's been done in Texas. It's been done in Colorado. Why aren't we doing it here? If we have enough of an unhoused population that it is a problem, why aren't we doing it here? We want to complain about how the city doesn't have any money. Well, those are really nice computers you're sitting at. I can't afford a computer that looks like that. Just pointing that out. So yeah, I encourage you that whenever we're looking at those 15-minute cities for our unhoused population, that we also look at putting storm shelters within those 15-minute cities, because then you're not only serving just unhoused people, you're serving all of your citizens. Anybody who lives in a mobile home, anybody who lives without a basement, all of them. Last thing, I got 30 seconds, so I'm going to put this on here. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to anyway. I met a young man. He went to ITT Tech. You know what they did? He spent 2 years of his life getting an education. They took that education degree away from him. You want to know why? It was a for-profit school that shut down. I'm just saying, there's somebody sitting here in Ward 1 who did the same exact thing, but yet he's a white male, not a black male, and he was able to keep his degree.
The next person signed up to speak is Mbana Katako. Mr. Kantako, are you here? Okay. No. We will move on. The next person signed up to speak is Charles Williams. Mr. Williams, are you here? No. The next person signed up to speak is Patty Meyer. There you are.
Good evening. I'm just trying to wrap my head around a few things here. My sister lives at 520 East Oak. I have sent a letter to every alderman on this. And got no response except from mine. Larry Rockford did respond, but I still have not heard back any resolution to this problem. She lives at 520 East Oak. She's a senior citizen on a fixed income. You guys did all this work on 6th Street, all the curbs. She has used 1 unit of water since she bought this house. Never had a problem. After the work was done, now she's using 12 to 24 units of water. Immediately after this work was done, she gets a letter from CWLP stating that something's wrong. She lives in Jennifer's ward. I sent 2 emails to you.
And I returned one.
Okay. I haven't got any resolution for it, but she's now senior citizen, fixed income, has kidney issues, living with no water. And the only thing I got from CWLP was, not our problem. She has to replace the meter to her house. It's her responsibility. I get that. This is not a normal circumstance. You guys did work there. You drove trucks over that. Her meter is located at the corner of 6th and Oak, which is no longer allowed. The meters have to be in your own yard. But she got a bid for $10,500. I don't think this is a coincidence. I do not believe it's possible to be a coincidence when, right after the work got done, she has this issue. Now, if this had been no work done and no curbs poured, no sidewalks, no nothing done over there, I would say it's normal wear and tear. Understand it. But since you guys just finished all this work, you disturbed the ground, the weather conditions were horrible, we were down to 0 degrees when all this was being done. You had trucks driving over that corner all the time, but this meter is now her problem. So I'm trying to wrap my head around how all this work got done. Now she's using 25 units of water in 2 months. I don't understand it. So I would like somebody to respond and tell me what she's supposed to do, because now she can't afford $400 bills a month for water. She has no water service. But I don't know where to go with this, so I sent the email to all of you trying to get some response to figure out where I'm supposed to go and what she's supposed to do. And if this was normal circumstance, if this was normal situation where no work was done by her house, I understand that. But this is not a normal. Like I said, all that ground was disturbed, drove over with trucks in the worst weather, and now she has this problem. So I am just pleading with you all to find out what an answer is for her. Is there any help for her? How can she get this fixed, or how can it be resolved? Because I just don't think it's a coincidence that it happened right after your work's done.
Do you have any more, Ms. Meyer?
Pardon me?
I don't want to interrupt you. Do you have any more?
No, I just would like to try and find an answer for her.
Council Coordinator Griffin probably has your contact, and between CWLP Water and/or Economic Development, they have grants that you can use for low-income folks to help with their housing, so we'll have somebody follow up with you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is James Johnson. Mr. Johnson, are you here? There he is. Trying to read his hat.
I know what the word is today, don't you? What?
It's disruption.
Disruption.
Yeah, disruption's coming. But today, let me talk about CWLP. Doug and Mayor, make sure y'all hear me clearly today, because for 20 years I've been coming up here to this horseshoe, and I ain't been asking for nothing, not a dime. I don't need a dime from this horseshoe. But I come up here fighting and standing for other people, male and female, black and brown. But CWLP, Lyman crew, we got a problem. Because, see, the history of Springfield goes all the way back, starting with the police department since I've been around. We didn't always have black officers and female officers, but we got them now. Look how strong they are now. The fire department didn't even have a black female until the last couple years. And I put in a lot of work to get people to take these jobs who want to work. Now, our lineman crew, we had 2 to 3 black males on them. And I think we're down to 1. Now, for all y'all that ain't been around, because there's some new people around this horseshoe, let me let you know what's really happening. There's a white male who's acting like, well, I'm going to call him a Sean Grayson. And he said, I'm going to get rid of all these N words. That's out of his mouth. And I know who he is, Mayor and Doug. I know his name. I know everything about him. But I'm asking you two to make sure that another black male don't come up on the unemployed list because this dude got something against black males. Because I'm one of them individuals in the community now, I'm tired of talking. And there's a whole lot of people out there that's tired of us talking. They say, James, come up there and talk and say something all the time. And they still get the same results, but not this one. This ain't gonna be the same results this time. So I hope he don't come up on the unemployed list, because that foreman, he needs to quit that day too. Because we have put in a lot of work. And people who go to work every day should not have to feel harassed, any kind of pressure, or talked to rudely. And I'm going to tell you, like somebody said earlier, there's a lot of people that work for the city in different places, and they won't come up here and talk because everybody is afraid, because they need that job and they don't want to lose their bag. That's why you don't get a lot of people coming up here talking about what happens on their job. Now, I'm a little pissed and angry about it. And I ain't forgot about Sonia Massey. We let one take out one of our females. I'd be dang if I let that happen again while I'm still breathing. And if there's one in the city, I need you to take care of it and Doug. Because if that happens, I'm going to ask for Doug to go ahead and step down. And then we're gonna do the medical term. We're going to start adding more pressure. And I'm going to keep applying pressure. And the last thing I'm going to end with that y'all might not know about, because y'all sign these contracts every 3-4 years, about $4 million of these crews that cut these trees, and there's no females or no blacks or brown. And they in our community every year and every season, but nobody seems to want to say nothing. But we act like there's people out here who don't need a job or don't want to work. So for the people who ain't out here selling drugs or robbing us and who want to work and go to work every day, let them go to work in peace. Because I don't want to have to become the equalizer. Because I'll go looking for them.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The next person signed up to speak is Andy Schallenberger. Oh, sorry. Were you saying something? My apologies. No? Okay. The next person signed up to speak was Andy Schallenberger. Is Mr. Schallenberger here? Andy Schallenberger? Okay. The next person signed up to speak is Josh Bukowski.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Josh Witkowski. I'm the lobbyist for Abate of Illinois, a state motorcyclist rights organization. I'm here tonight on their behalf. To start, I'd like to state Abate of Illinois and Lincoln Land Abate have had a great working relationship with the mayor, with the chief, with the police department. They've provided traffic control for many things. We've been able to have great discussions between our members and many good officers within the police department. However, friends disagree. And tonight is just one of those instances where friends disagree. Obviously, we know why I'm here. It's regarding the collision with Michael Egan back in September. We agreed not to make a public statement until after the investigation was released. The investigation has been released. We are here now. To start, this isn't an isolated incident. This may be this council's first instance dealing with this, but in the 8 years that I have been at this level, we dealt with a Springfield police officer who threatened a motorcyclist with jail time if they did not turn over personal property, namely a GoPro camera. We dealt with an officer who targeted riders so heavily, aggressively, chased them, would follow them for miles on end, that the riders started putting a single scout on him and go to the other side of town so they could ride peaceably without being harassed. We dealt with an officer trying to claim that a bike was stolen when it was not. The rider said, "Hey, I'm just dropping my girlfriend off over here at the hotel." That officer turned up at the hotel 45 minutes later to interrogate the girlfriend at her place of work when the bike was not stolen. He just didn't know how to read that particular bike's VIN number. We had an instance where, deja vu, a city employee jumped a curb, hit a motorcycle that was at an ice-shaved place, and lo and behold, police said, "Hey, he just celebrating his retirement," and that got swept away. 4 of those instances never made it to council because the 4 people involved were too scared to come address council or to have it addressed publicly. This instance, the instance with Michael Egan, the gentleman who got the video footage, I sat in 2 different meetings where he cried, absolutely convinced that police were going to do something to him because he was afraid. We shouldn't be afraid of our police. What we saw in that video was a double standard. How do I know that? Well, in the motorcycle community, we have a lot of sober riders, guys that have done some DUI time. They had some things to say about how that arrest was handled. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm here this evening. Concerns about what we saw in that double standard needed to be addressed. Accountability needed to be had. I want to congratulate Chief Scarlett. He has been trying to take accountability. You have to say that. He came out, he said his feelings, he's been trying to do what he can to hold officers responsible. Problem is, his hands are tied by union contracts and policies. 4 of these officers got a slap on the wrist, letter in the file, retraining. That's not accountability. They were talked about scene management. All I can think of is last week, I passed by the bowling alley by me, a black man on the sidewalk surrounded by 4 officers. Do you think I would have been allowed to approach in my truck, get out and give that man some water? No. That's double standard. That should not be happening, period. In addition to all this, why bring problems if you're not going to bring solutions, right? So now we know some of the problems. Let's talk solutions. First of all, the 4 officers that had problems with scene management. It is our recommendation that they either volunteer or be voluntold to attend a motorcycle safety training class so they can have better recognition of the difficulties in riding a motorcycle and how vehicle traffic affects that. Whether that's done through punishment or their own sense of accountability. Because the officers on scene need to address their own accountability, not just leadership. Also, recommend that they attend a victim impact statement because the callous behavior that was on display that night towards the victims should not ever be repeated again. Additionally, we asked the city to look into better mental health and employee access programs for our officers, because for them to behave like that on scene, that tells me they've seen a lot of this and they're pretty indifferent to it, and there could be some issues, and we're worried about those officers' mental health. So we want to make sure that's being taken care of. Additionally, the things I have mentioned center around anger, aggression, or alcohol. May I continue?
I'll give you like about 30, 40 more seconds, Mr. Witkowski, then we're done.
Thank you very much. We ask that in the new police contract, when it comes forward, there be more stringent testing with regards to steroids, alcohol, and drugs. Because if you have anger, aggression, and alcohol leading to these factors, we should be aware of that and we should be more stringent about it. City of Springfield pays better than any city around when it comes to police. We should be attracting the best and keeping the best. Body cams should be on at all times, from the time you leave the squad car to the time you return to the squad car. That is for protection of the officer and the public. That way you can't claim there's missing footage or say that nothing exists when there's no footage. Last but not least, we talk about backing the blue, and I agree, police need support. But you should also back citizens, and there's a lot more citizens out there. We look forward to continuing the conversations and the good working relationship that we have had with the mayor and with the department. However, we are watching to see what reforms come out of this instance, not just the discipline. And not only are we watching, but the state of Illinois is watching. I have had several lawmakers ask us about what's going on down here.
Thank you.
We look forward to moving forward. Thank you very much, Mayor.
For your time, sir. The next person signed up to speak is Robert Frazier.
It's always interesting to know when I'm next. It's like, so I just wanted to give a little update about the CSA program, and I know last week it was a pretty hot topic, but this is the month of February right here. This is the month of February of the number of people that have come through the CSA program. This actually represents 4,683 people right here, 28 days. We expect this to reach 10,000 by the middle of summer or somewhere close to when it gets warm. Anti-poverty programs, do you agree that poverty is not sustainable? And if so, what are you doing about it? If you believe that it's sustainable, then we need a lot more protection because we've got a lot going on by some of the other conversations that we've heard tonight. And I can just second that as far as the number of people who just need something as the basic need of clean clothes. We are trying to make the difference in this city to make it better. It takes individuals to step up and step out of their comfort zone, and that's what we're doing. The service we provide at CSA, which is a laundry program, and its partners, our goal is to improve the quality of life for all that need it. Now, I've been told there's many different questions. We have a few people here tonight. I have no idea how many people showed up to speak about their experience through the program, but I would welcome any questions, or otherwise I'll yield my time to hear from them.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Ken Pasha.
Evening, City Council. It's tough to know where to start sometimes. I'm going to start with one of my favorite pieces, which is communication. I talked to Chief Scarlett about this just recently, and I've talked about it with you guys, and I think it's something that continually needs to be brought up because a lack of communication, a lack of clarity, and a lack of transparency leaves people to assume the worst. I think it's weird that a lot of times city governments, police departments, and other groups that are in positions of authority expect the citizens to assume the best of your intentions, the best of your failures, the best of your, lack of communication even, that we should assume that good things are happening. Why? Why should we assume the best? We know the worst. We see it every day. A lot of us live it. And I think the frustrating part is when it comes to being able to communicate that, there's a lot of restrictions in place. A lot of games that get played, a lot of things that are meant to do to kind of soften the impact that we can have as people speaking up and out. For instance, the city Facebook page. Blocking comments on posts on almost everything is purposeful. It's removing the access of the public to tell you about the things that you're doing. For example, you guys posted a snow map that was so impossible to read, I had to communicate to someone in city government on my own Facebook through Messenger to them to let them know that the city couldn't even access it. People couldn't look at that to see what roads we had to move cars from. Why wasn't I able to comment that on the post? Because you guys block and turn off the comments. Is that communication enabled? I'm almost positive restricting access on a social media page that's intended to be used for public discussion and dissemination of information has been ruled on. And I think it's odd that we have to continue to play these games with the city about getting a hold of you guys or commenting on stuff that's important. All I hear about is a lack of engagement from the public. But why narrow the access to it? Why make it harder for us? Why make it so that we feel that you don't want to hear from us? And it's frustrating when it gets to those kind of things to where I have to come up here and talk about it. Or the camera angles. Don't get me started on the camera angle game that's been going on for months. Every time one of us makes a front page news feature, or we end up on the news, or I get a couple million views on TikTok, there's suddenly something new happening with the cameras. We start changing the view. We put boxes over people's faces. I mean, is this the kind of thing that should be happening in a major capital city where it feels like we're playing games with the citizens about us talking? If people see what I have to say and it makes it all the way across the country to where people reach out to me and tell me to keep going, complete strangers, good. You shouldn't be scared of that kind of impact reaching out. You should be scared about what would get me up here to talk like that. That's the frustrating part. It shouldn't be how do we stop him from saying something? How do we stop the attention and the phone calls and the emails? It should be why are the policies and the choices that we're making causing that kind of outcry, frustration, and outrage from the citizens? It's absolutely ridiculous that I have to have a conversation about communication. I will reiterate, I have a master's degree in that, so I have the right to talk about how to do it correctly. And quite frankly, the idea that I have to talk to city governments and city officials and police departments about how their PR people and their media people are failing them in terms of reaching out to the public is deeply frustrating. And that's not an ask for a job. I don't need the money. The problem for me is that it goes into why am I having to have those discussions? It shouldn't be that hard for us to find these things. When Chief Scarlett puts together a great statement about where to find that body cam footage, it shouldn't be left up to news agencies to report it. They have a Facebook page. We know how to communicate. You guys know how to communicate. I know people here look at our pages and look at what we have to say because you've given feedback on it at council and directly to me on my page and elsewhere. So it's frustrating when we act like there's no way to get those points across except for right here. And I only get 5 minutes to do it. I don't even have time to cover the rest of the stuff I want to cover. And there's a lot of important things. You know why people are frustrated about that video? I had a DUI. I didn't get treated that friendly. I didn't say I had a nice ride and get a chuckle out of it after I ran over 2 human beings. Like, that's the kind of thing that it isn't about discipline. It's about the ideas noted. We're supposed to be hiring the best. It's not about scene management. It's about treat everybody the same. And that's not what we saw. We saw a level of inequity and unfairness that if we're extended to anybody else, we would find it egregious. But instead, we're told to trust the process. Why would we trust the process? Because the process right now has left us where massage parlors that still engage in daily rape and things like that are still wide open and not being enforced even after having to be closed. So I guess it's just frustrating that yet again I've run out of time because I don't have enough time to cover what needs to be said. And I think you guys all realize that. So good luck with the rest of the speakers because, man, I don't think it's going to go well. Have a good night.
The next person signed up to speak is Maribel Cruz-Hine.
I'd like to distribute some of this.
Joanna can come get that from you, ma'am. She'll help pass those around for you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can we have some order?
Sir, please sit down. Go ahead, Ms. Cruz-Hine.
Okay, so I'd like to start with a moment of silence for the 450 people that were martyred in Palestine. Okay. people keep asking me, what radicalized me to care about Palestine? I'm not Palestinian. What do I care about that? Why would I care? The question is, why don't you care? What numbs you? What numbs you? What numbs you? Why don't you care? Why is there no empathy for your neighbors? Why is there no empathy for other people that do not look like you? I don't want to come here. I really I just want to be home, you know? I work so much with DCFS, and it's insane. It's insane. It should not be radical to ask to stop bombing of kids. It should not be radical to stop bombing families, mothers, fathers, friends. To ask for equity, for justice, it should not be radical. Why do we feel like it's always radical to ask for equality? Why does it feel like, again, like when we ask for equality to the privileged, it feels like oppression? Why does it feel that way? Settle with that uncomfortableness. I want you guys to be uncomfortable because it shows that you have all this privilege and you don't even use it. I don't understand. I guess I'm trying to understand when people say, to understand, do you not understand when a child cries? Is there a different language? Or when bombs explode in schools or in hospitals, is that a different language? The city of Springfield has invested $8,782,663 to Israel weapons that could instead be used for those fundings for 5,506 households with 1 month's free rent, 18,480 families with 1 month's free groceries, 3,055 children receiving free low-cost health care for one. I mean, there's so much money that we could be using for our problems here. I'm asking you to look into the investment. I'm asking you to look into what's going on around you, not just here. I mean, it involves us because it's our tax money that is bombing these civilians, children, families, schools. All the colleges are gone. I mean, I don't understand how people are not even talking about Mahmoud Khalil. Do you guys even know who that guy is? Mahmoud Khalil, have you heard him? I'm sure you heard him in the news. Why aren't you guys outraged? Honestly, that man did not commit any crime. Nothing. He just said, I'm in Palestine. I'm a Palestinian. I mean, it makes me so mad. It makes me angry. It makes me sad. It's like, when are people going to actually realize we're human? We are all human. That's our common ground. We're human. So please, do better.
Thank you, ma'am. The next person signed up to speak is Brianna Roberts.
How does authority, power, and environment shape human behavior? In August 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo conducted the Stanford Prison Experiment to investigate how individuals conform to roles in authority and submission. 24 psychologically stable college students were randomly assigned as either guards or inmates, and it was a mock prison trial set at Stanford University. The experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks, but it ended in 6 days. Why? Because the guards, regular students with no prior history of abusive behavior, became sadistic, cruel, and dehumanizing almost immediately. They forced prisoners to perform degrading acts, denied them food, and inflicted psychological torment. The prisoners, also ordinary students, became passive, submissive, and emotionally broken. No one forced them into these behaviors. The environment and unchecked authority shaped them into it. And Zimbardo's findings weren't an anomaly. Years later, the Milgram experiment revealed the terrifying ease in which people obey harmful authority. Participants, believing they were delivering real electric shocks to other people, continued increasing the voltage, even as the person they were supposedly shocking were screaming in pain, begged for mercy, or fell silent. Why? Because an authority figure told them to. Now, you may be wondering, why am I bringing up these psychological experiments and how they apply to anything relevant in this town? I hope it's clear that the police system is designed to create corrupt human beings, people who lose their sense of individuality and empathy, turning into apathetic, robotic enforcers of a broken structure. It creates officers who abuse their power, leading to wrongful imprisonments, beating, strangulation, and death in custody. It creates officers who stand by their peers who murder people in their own home. It fosters a brotherhood where your buddies help you try to lower your blood alcohol content after you have almost fatally ran into two people on a motorcycle. So we're going to relate this to Michael Egan, an officer in Springfield Police Department. Body cam footage reveals officer on the scene handing him gum and water. Now, I understand it was discussed earlier that can't actually lower your blood alcohol content, but as the public, what else are we supposed to assume that they're doing? Egan even told witnesses on scene that his buddies were going to take care of him. How do you foster a belief within somebody to think that they are above the law because of a title that they have, because of unchecked authority? Despite causing potentially life-threatening injuries to two innocent people, he wasn't even arrested on the scene. He had to turn himself in. He wasn't treated as an ordinary citizen. He was protected by a system that breeds unaccountability, a system where unchecked power turns ordinary people into abusers and enablers. We're not immune to this abuse of power. We've seen it time and time again in this city with the murder of Sonia Massey, when 3 Illinois police guards were indicted for beating and killing an inmate. And again, when Michael Egan and officers tried to cover for him on the scene of his crime. The psychology proves that when given too much power and authority and too little oversight, people turn into monsters, and fast. This is why we must look internally at the system itself. Unchecked power immediately corrupts. And every day we let this continue. And now I have a little bit of extra time, so I just want to share a personal story. A guy that I was dating a couple of years ago got into a car accident, and it wasn't anything major, but the officers on scene immediately thought he was drunk. And again, not a major accident at all. Immediately threw him in the back of the police car, did not have to wait for a warrant or some type of authorization to take him to the hospital to get his blood tested. They tested him immediately that day. He was under the influence and was tried appropriately, but I'm trying to get you to see the dissonance between what happened with Michael Egan and what happened with my boyfriend at the time. He was treated like an ordinary citizen who was at fault for an accident with a DUI. Michael Egan was not, and we need to start asking questions. Why do our officers think they are above the law? Because they don't get checked by it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Caitlin Weiss.
I'm Caitlin Weiss, and my sister is Chelsea Farley, who was hit by Mike Egan. I appreciate you guys letting me speak so long last time. It felt like we were going to have effective change and accountability from what was going on, but it doesn't look like that's what we're seeing. I appreciate that Alderman Notariano, Alderman Gregory both spoke up and said, you can see that. It's super obvious, and everybody here knows that that doesn't look like what Bree said, being treated like a citizen. And which did you guys want? Because you didn't want it to be that he was an officer, because that looks worse. You had to know that he had been retired for, a few hours ahead of the accident. So is he a citizen or an officer? And why did they treat him so kindly at the scene? I, too, have had a DUI when I was 21, and they took me right down to Saints and got my blood the way that they did Egan's. But it didn't take from 9:30 when he hit my sister until 2 in the morning. And then, so many days later into actually arresting him and taking him down to the court. I don't understand that, we have a big display each week down here at the beginning from the mayor about a new, a day in town when you won't even, let there be an Indigenous Peoples Day, but there's no apology. Where are these officers? They're not here tonight when you guys all clearly prepared and knew that everybody was going to be down here. Where is Scarlett? He's here. The sergeant and those officers to say sorry to my sister and to, in front of the city, take any accountability and blame. Because that's what we asked for you, Misty. And you spelled GoFundMe for 2 minutes of your video. That's all we got from you. My sister's here tonight, and I don't know if you know what she looks like in the crowd or if you can point her out, because you've never tried to speak with her. Scarlett and Dodds have went to her house and visited her. We're hoping we can get some kind of new meeting with you guys to ask some questions, since now there's so many more questions. Because we knew it looked bad when everybody had just shared it online and nobody wanted to believe the social media posts of the actual scene. But now seeing it directly from their point of view and hearing each time they whisper or ask if they clicked off before they were speaking to each other, or the fact that he drank a beer on the scene, because everyone has mentioned the water and the gum, but let me tell you, well, my phone has the right time, but it's Officer 1 body cam at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 24 seconds. He lets everybody know that they gave him a beer, and it was a Busch Light. So after he even admits that he got to drink on the scene, was that okay to not cuff him and make sure he sat in a car? Still, from from Springfield Police or ISP, not okay. Let's see, he was visibly drunk after a night of celebrating his retirement with the 2 beers he quoted. He was with a bunch of other city officials, officers, and friends that'll all come out eventually. And they decided to get behind the wheel and proceed to turn without signaling, proper lane usage, directly in front of my sister and her boyfriend, Trevor Hopkins, causing the horrific accident, leaving him battered with head trauma and sending my sister into a coma in the ICU, where she would stay for the hospital for weeks following. We had a month of that, tons of rehab, and she's still gonna deal with everything that Egan caused to her for the rest of her life. Of course, by the way, since he was retired and some weird bylaws about our city's population, there's no going after Egan's pension, because everyone in this town thinks my sister's going to become a millionaire. Literally, I've talked to city officials, I've talked to random people, I've talked to other lawyers who all say, this is so great. Hopefully she'll just get a settlement out of this. And I wanted everybody to be aware and hope the news spreads that she doesn't get anything out of it except for regular ass insurance payment and maybe a dram shop cause, for over serving him at the stadium. So is that okay that he spent 23 years as an officer for your department, but got out to give life advice on how to be a good officer after he smashed 2 people, thought it was okay to drink on the scene? Do you really think that the punishment fits the crime? For him or the officers is what I came to talk about, is did they really take care of that scene well enough to where he could, he couldn't do all of that? Not at all. We were buddy-buddy. We were talking about boating. We were pointing our camera at his car and saying, dang, you had a nice whip too. All the officers all quoting this stuff. You had 6 officers there. Not one of them could do the right thing and cuff him or just say, you're in the wrong, buddy, stop. So he at least didn't just look more and more stupid. And don't say they did it, for good reason to get evidence for us. They were too scared because he was their boss the day before, Sergeant, or I don't truly know how that chain of command works, but you get the gist. I don't believe that adding more police and retraining will fix those type of deep-rooted problems that you can clearly see he was okay with perpetuating at that scene. You need better rules and regulations regarding whether people can even be an officer after DUIs, criminal offenses, all the orders of protection from women that Mike Egan has on his record, other previous DUIs that you can't see on his record. So do I direct my questions that we truthfully have to Corporation Counsel or who in this city can answer us? Because like everybody said, this is our right, people, to come down here and ask you questions. And there's usually a lot of response. Because I know you don't want to hear it, but I've been watching every week since I came down here. And I watch you guys reach out and ask questions to the speakers, and you answer, when it's something that, behooves you to sound nice and say, meet us afterwards, give us an email, and we'll get you some information. So I have specific questions. Can we ask them to you? Can you set up a meeting with my sister? Can you answer what rules were broken and why and how that punishment truly fit? I know that it was quoted that it went through Youth Corporation Council in the news. Is that correct, or is it only the lawyer that runs the police union's attorney, excuse me? So can anybody reach out and give me the answers? Or say
Ma'am.
that they will help us
Ma'am,
with finding those answers?
I believe Deputy Chief, or Assistant Chief Dodd Assistant Chief Beal and/or Chief Scarlett has your contact information and/or Chelsea, so we will have them reach out for your meeting.
They don't have Chelsea's. Actually, none of the city has ever contacted her. Even the state's attorney keeps calling just Trevor and not Chelsea. They are not married. They are two separate entities, and you guys do not call her to tell her you're allowing him a new judge, you're changing the date, well, excuse me, all the states.
So the Chief of Staff to the Mayor is in the back. If you and Chelsea want to go back by Deputy Chief Stunkel and give him your information, he'll have it then.
And we'll hope to have like a meeting with
Yes, ma'am.
you and the police to answer?
DC Stunkel will help.
Sure.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, so you're not gonna meet with us at all or anything? And any of my aldermen that represent the city help me find any of these answers? I'm begging.
Ma'am, we're offering a meeting. Please go in the back.
She wants to guard, you know,
The
wants to
next,
protect her buddy that she was drinking with that night.
the next person to speak is Kaylee Freeman. Disco, will you go get the information, please?
I didn't know today was going to be National Corruption Day, but happy Corruption Day. Oh, okay, sorry. Happy Corruption Day. Didn't know that's what it was going to be. So I added this part. Ed Curtis in 2020 made sure his rich donors and friends got visitors during COVID. I don't know what special treatment it was traded for that declaration today, but we do know, Misty, that your husband has some health issues, so I'm assuming you're getting your private room or whatever. Nurses were given one mask in a brown paper sack and made to ration that. Ed made $10 million that year. He profited off of your sick loved ones who he made say goodbye on iPads. But he gets a special day, so I'm assuming y'all will be getting VIP treatment at the hospital. Better make sure you do. Anyways, Springfield dares to call those who protest against police violence agitators and disrespectful, while your police cover up their own crimes and refuse to prosecute those running our wonderful massage parlors. We have racist cops with drinking problems telling us what is a crime, while our politicians make insider deals to give each other breaks. The people that voted for you, I'm assuming, are disappointed. We've lost our democracy, and we have cops who are protecting not just property, but also their own interests. Want to drink and drive in Springfield? Be a cop. Know someone in government. If you're making a peaceful protest impossible because you will not listen, and instead you disrespect and disregard those who pay your salaries, the police in Springfield are criminals, and the lack of accountability is disgusting. I was pulled over myself by a county officer, Mr. Grayson, the April before Miss Massey was killed. I was accused of being drunk at 1 a.m., and I've worked nights for the last 20 years. 1 a.m. is when I go to get my ice-cold Coke. I'm never drunk at 1 a.m. Catch me at 9 is what I told Sean. Well, he detained me for 20 minutes, just continually asking me if I was drunk. I am so sorry that people have to work at night. Sorry. Thank you to the career politicians up in this horseshoe for holding criminals like Chief Scarlett, his crew, Redpath, the Langfelders, all accountable. Oh, wait, you're not. It's pay to play in Springfield. That's why Ed Curtis got a special day today. And you guys would never do Indigenous Peoples Day because there are no more Indigenous people in Illinois. So you can't get favors from them. The chief needs to step down. He had one cop with a racist Twitter page and now a drunk driving cover-up. Time. When I watched that video, it was time. I didn't care about the gum. I cared about the time that was being wasted. And the fact that when I get pulled over at 1 a.m. for a simple violation or not having a sticker or whatever the case is, I am always treated like I am drunk. And I have never once been drunk at that time of day. The chief needs to step down. Dirty cops want us to respect them. Maybe they should start by respecting the people that pay their salaries and allow them to be in a union. Chuck Redpath's own son is on our police force, and he has done violence. They need to remove the protect and serve from their slogan because all the police do in Springfield is protect property. They could care less whether we live or die. And since I have 1 minute and 30 seconds left, where'd she go? That lady that was up here before? I'd like her to be able to continue to speak since she was not allowed to because she's not special enough. She doesn't give you guys millions. She's not Ed Curtis. You have to be special to be allowed to talk for the whole time. So I'm going to take all my time. Do you want to finish talking?
I have lots to say.
You know what? You come on up here, darling.
Go talk, girl.
You get up here.
Okay, so what I got when I went in the hallway was gonna give them my information and being met with, we have been meeting with Chelsea. Well, I appreciate that, Chief Scarlett. My sister was in a medically induced coma for a month because of that officer. Do you think she wasn't a little bit confused in those following weeks of waking up and going home? Truthfully, she rightfully so has so many more questions after actually viewing the body cam. Now that she stated that it's like she finally knows or doesn't know what happened to her because she can't remember that. Nobody at the hospital ever told us it was fatal or she was gonna actually die, and we have to sit there and listen over and over and over again to them just say it's probably fatal. And then be like, oh yeah, since she's gonna die, you better hurry up and send a cop to the hospital so we can get real-time updates on that patient now that we figured out it's Egan. It's insane. The view of the scene, the optics that you're showing there are what causes distrust in the whole city. And instead, you cut me off and you show how uncompassionate you are, just like every time. Every last time.
Thank you, ma'am, for your time. Thank you, ma'am, for your time. Thank you. Alderwoman Notriano, do you have a comment? You cannot use foul language in the council chambers.
I hope it matches your shirt today. Better look at you.
Alderwoman Notriano, do you have something to say?
Yeah, it is, I can't think of I wish I had like a counter or some measure of how long we have let people talk over their time because it was a sensitive issue or because it was something that needed to be said. I really feel like this is the time for that, but I'm not the chair. What I did want to say is I wanted to tell the public and the Chelsea's family that I have been thinking about things that we could do to make our police force safer, and ever since the murder of Sonia Massey. And Chief will remember that I sent him an email about a program in August of 2024 about the so it's a program sponsored and implemented by the University of Chicago. It's called the Officer Support System, and basically they track officers who have legal action against them, OPs, DUIs, things like that, officers in their employ in the Chicago Police Department. They track the amount of citizen complaints each officer gets, and they also track, I can't remember the third one, but it's these 3 data points that they track, and basically they have used it to predict when an officer is in danger of doing something that would put their careers and the public at risk, like shooting someone or otherwise abusing their power. And the idea is not to penalize these officers, but the idea is that if we see that someone is having a hard time, an officer is having a hard time, we can pull them aside and give them special treatment, maybe reassign them, but target services to them so that they are not going to be a danger to the public and themselves. I really think that these are data points that we probably already track and that we could certainly use to identify officers who need some positive intervention in order to protect the city of Springfield and frankly to protect themselves. and obviously the citizens. Thanks.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Dawn Moore. Is Dawn Moore here? Ms. Moore? The next person signed up to speak would be Rachel Miller.
Can we get some order in here?
Is Rachel Miller here? Ms. Miller?
Mayor, can we get some order in here? We've got conversations going all over the place.
I think that they're quiet. Is there Judy Mel Ruley here? Judy Mel Ruley? Judy Mel Ruley? How about Herman Tittle? Herman Tittle. William, please, the crowd, we're trying to go through the list of people who signed up to speak. William Brown. Is William Brown here? Terry Moore. Is Terry Moore here? Terry Moore. Robert Thomas. Order in the chambers, please. Robert Thomas, are you here, Mr. Thomas? You can come up, sir.
Yes, I didn't write nothing down. I do have a notebook, but a little notebook. I got several notebooks as I go to college. I do appreciate coming to the laundromat. I don't live nowhere close to it. I personally live west. I'm going to consider it east because it's off of South Grand, not far from where my daughter at. I come faithfully all the time. It's, well, that's where I live, 2080 West Washington. I come every week. Sometimes I don't come every week. And the part that was bothering me, because I went to the military in '79. I had a whole platoon, had to deal with a bunch of people. And the part that was bothering me when I heard this, because I never have a dull moment in my life. So people that are bored or do get bored, appreciate that. Because when you got 55 grandkids, I promise you, you won't get bored. I go to that laundry, and I don't take their stuff because they ain't with me. I can't handle all them. I go there because I appreciate going somewhere where I get my stuff washed. Because back in the old day, I had to wash it with my hands. And some of y'all, as old as I am, y'all don't know about that part. But some of the young ones have never heard of that one yet. But to be able to get to the laundry is a blessing. They got prices over there where I'm at, and I don't appreciate the machine because the building I live in, it don't work all the time. So the closest machines over there near me, the cheapest price is $2. And that don't cost count for drying it. I've been going to this laundromat over there on South Grand, where this man right here, Robert, his name is Robert too. He's the owner of it, and I've been able to do it, and I didn't have to pay it. Yeah, I had to get on the bus. I had to do some walk. I had to get on more than one bus. I didn't care about none of that. I cared about being able to get somewhere and get my stuff done and get on about my business. And I appreciate someone having the heart to help other people, because I'm a veteran. I've been to several places, several cities, and I've never, ever in my life went nowhere where you can wash it for free. Yeah, they may give you a cheap price. They may give you a ridiculous price. And when you got someone that's looking out for you, my rule, I can't speak for anybody and everybody, because even all my family members, they don't do everything I do. They don't do everything I say. But they understand if I say something, I say what I mean what I say. Because I'm not good at faking it to make it, because I can't fake nothing to make it. And I say what's on my mind. And I've been having this all my life. I treat people how I want to be treated. So by him being a blessing in my life and my family members that do go up there to have a laundry that we can go and get it done for free, it would break my heart to not be to go there anymore. But I know everything that has a beginning has an ending. And power comes from many different ways. So when somebody says something, they had a reason for saying it. When somebody do something, they had a reason for doing it. And me, being that I was in the military for a long time and I have a lot of people up under me by being a platoon sergeant, I I look at anything when it happens, even if it's negative. There's something positive in the negative. It may not be much, but I'm going to find something. And I had a problem with finding something positive in this one. It wasn't nothing there, except for I'm going to have to go find some more money and do it my doggone self because there ain't nothing free no more. Or I have to go open up, well, it won't be free then because that means I have to be paying it. But I thought about if it'd be a blessing to have a place like that. It'd be a bigger blessing if I didn't have to go that far to get the one that was one close to me. Because there's one that I could get to in 3 minutes. But it damn sure ain't free. And there's one that's closed on North Grand. I can't go buy it and sit there and charge them people because they may keep looking at me and figure out how to get that stuff done free. So I'm going to say I appreciate Mr. Robert that's right here coming up with the idea that he did. And I know he wanted to open up more. But I appreciate if anybody help him out to where he can continue to keep helping people that help themselves. Now, as far as go get them, bring them, do this, that, and the other, I ain't on that page. But you could, a person, if they make up their mind and want to do something bad enough, they're going to figure out how to do it. And with me, I get there. If I don't go every week, I go every other week. And I got 14 seconds left. So I'm going to tell y'all thanks for listening to me. Y'all have a blessed day and goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Is Jennifer Welch here? Jennifer Welch. Winfred Little? Winfred Little? Jennifer Carver? Jennifer Carver. Lonnie Wilkerson? Lonnie Wilkerson. Toby Dorn? Toby Dorn. Kevin King. Is Kevin King here? Lucas Morbles. Lucas Morbles. Chad Keller. Chad Keller. Glenda Turner. Glenda Turner. Chris Schofield. Chris Schofield. Taryn Blackwell. Taryn Blackwell. Celinda Hearn. Celinda Hearn. Craig West. Craig West. Kelsey Smith. Kelsey Smith. Carvel Alexander. Carvel Alexander. Melvin Archer. Melvin Archer. Angela Rivera. I'm sorry, it's Angel Rivera. Angel Rivera. Otheus Worthy. Otheus Worthy. Barbara Bennett. Barbara Bennett. Tierra Standage.
No, he was asking me a question. All right, bro.
Hello, I'm Tierra Standage. I'm the Executive Director of Intricate Minds. I was going to come today and talk about harm reduction, but I think it's very gross, Mayor, how you're treating the victim's sister when she's trying to talk about her experiences with the police and what happened with her sister. I don't know if the chief came back in. Okay, he's here. Great. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what happened. On September 6th, former Sergeant Egan was driving drunk and caused the accident that left Chelsea and Trevor recovering for months. As a fellow business owner and mother of small children, I would like to say that I am very grateful to see Chelsea here today, walking and talking amongst the rest of us, because it took her months to be able to do that. On September 9th, I organized a protest to demand accountability from the police and the arrest of former Sergeant Egan. Egan was not arrested until 2 hours into the protest. At this protest, myself, as well as several other activists, were met with SPD officers in riot gear. After being strangled by my hoodie, I was arrested and told I was being charged with aggravated battery to a peace officer. On January 28th, after being rescheduled several times, I attended a mediation meeting about the protest and subsequent charges. The meeting consisted of myself, another activist, about 6 SPD officers, and the state's attorney. Chief Scarlett was not in attendance, despite requesting that several of my colleagues set up a meeting between the two of us. The meeting ended with the following conditions. Charges would not be filed against myself as well as the other protesters if I, with me, by myself, no agency or anybody behind me, just me, would set up meetings between the police and community leaders to help bridge the gap between the Black community and the police. It felt like blackmail and a request for free labor, to keep it short. There is a Police Committee Review Commission, the Massey Commission with the Police Reform Work Group, as well as several other agencies that have been tasked and paid to do these things for SPD. I have no interest in doing free work for SPD, especially when recent footage has showed the level of training and etiquette expected from your officers, managing the scene and turning off their cameras pretty early on. Officer Egan was given special treatment, period. We all could see how drunk he was the moment he opened his mouth. Until you, Chief Scarlett, take accountability for the wrongdoing and conduct of your officers, you are not holding space for the real conversations that lead to real change. Please stop approaching me in public, making small talk. Don't ask me to help you with anything until you're ready to drop these fictitious charges against myself and all the protesters from September 9th and take accountability for your officers. Also, to add note, high schoolers are suspended longer than 6 days for smelling like weed. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all we have signed up to speak. The chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. We are adjourned.